Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We are John and Wendy Williams here with the Short-Term Rental Authority, your authority on all things short-term rental related to help make you the best operator ever. And since this is a new year, we thought that we would take us some time and reflect on last year, some things that we did well, some things that we may need to improve on, and what our goals are going to be in the new year. And
so Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Happy 2023.
2023.
You know what's funny? As I used to, every year when the year changed, I would think to myself, okay, I got to remember to write 2023 on my checks.
On your checks. You don't write checks.
But I don't write checks anymore. I don't even think I have any. If I do, they don't even have my right address on them anymore. But
I write checks. Some of our places only take checks.
that's right. We do write some rent checks.
Some rent checks.
They're still old school in that regard.
Right. So I did have to remember to write 2023.
Okay. Well, you had to remember.
Yes, I did. I had to remember.
So anyway, last year, it's a new year today. 2022, what did it look like?
What did well, one big thing that we did was we got some new units.
Well, we doubled up on units.
Yeah, we expanded quite a bit.
So we decided to expand, and we actually did it in a totally different market. So instead of in Charlotte,
interesting.
Ended up being in Greensboro.
Which is about an hour and a half away from us.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half north of Charlotte, yeah.
So it's not like it's a hop, skip, and a jump like it is over to Charlotte.
Right, yeah, you have to plan to go there.
Yeah, these units are, it takes some time to get there.
Right, so we had to be sure that we had our infrastructure in place there, our boots on the ground, so that we weren't the ones driving an hour and a half up there, right?
Right.
And that took some time.
It did take some time.
Success was, hey, they will give us as many, this is an apartment building. They're basically like, hey, take as many as you want.
Right. And we were actively looking for units. So and that's one thing that we already knew was you're always looking for more units and you're always looking for more money. Right.
Right.
Those things are always happening.
Yes. So we ended up finding this building through another operator, actually, who was already in that building.
Right.
And we were looking for 2-bedroom units because that's who our client is. They were looking for 1-bedroom units. So that worked out well because we weren't stepping on each other's toes as far as what was available. So that was a win. And that was a good thing. It was good that we did that. Where we went wrong was that second half. You said we were looking for the units, but we weren't fully funded.
Right.
For everything.
Right.
And we ended up picking up 5 of them, but I think we signed leases for like 8.
Yes.
7 or 8.
Yes, that's true.
And realized that,
yeah, we're not going to have enough money to get all of these units.
We're not going to be able to furnish all these.
Yeah.
And so we kind of backed out of a few of them and ended up with just the 5. But even then, that was a big mistake we made in 2022 was we had, I want to say 2 of those, 2 or 3. No, was it just 2 or 3 that were kind of sitting for a while?
2. It was just 2.
It was just 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they sat there for a while, and the catch-22 we were in was, well, we had to pay rent on them, but we had no furniture in them.
Right.
So we couldn't put them up. So they became a drag.
Yeah.
For a few months.
So it was like, okay, what do we do? Do we spend the money on rent or do we spend the money furnishing them?
Right.
And getting them set up.
And we ended up picking, okay, let's pay rent.
Right.
Because it's a new landlord. Let's not piss them off at the very beginning.
Right.
But then we were in this catch-22 of, okay, we can pay rent, but we can't furnish it, which means we got to come up with rent next month.
Right.
And finally, we kind of just bit the bullet and did some expensive loan options.
Yeah.
And rented some furniture.
Yes. Renting furniture is really expensive.
It is. It's a form of financing.
Right. And if you...
And that's why I said it was very expensive financing.
And it was in a pinch. We did it because it was the option, but it's expensive.
We had to get them up and operate. But that ended up being a lot of output just in rental furniture.
Yeah.
Because I think we did an entire unit.
We did.
With rental furniture.
We did. We have one unit that is all rented furniture.
Right. And we kind of, I think we did the bare bones that we
Yeah.
could do to get that thing up and running.
Yeah.
But now it's up,
And it looks nice.
and it does.
It looks really nice.
And now we're at the point where, okay, now we need to buy out that rental and convert that to, well, we own the furniture instead of renting it.
Right.
So that's one of our goals actually this year, because that's finally, it was a year-long contract.
Right.
So that was part of it too.
On the rental furniture is a year-long contract.
Right. So you basically either have to go through the whole rental agreement or buy out the rest of the agreement. There was some prorated amount we could have done, but it was very expensive either way, either option, right?
And once that year is over, you can purchase the furniture and everything at a discounted rate.
Yeah. So if I had to go back and do it again, if I had advice for someone who, hey, because rental, that is a way to do it. You know, if you don't have the 10 grand or whatever it is to set up that unit, you can rent the furniture, but the advice I would say is make that a short-term plan. Make that, okay, I'm going to rent this for maybe the next 3 months with a plan to buy it out.
Yeah.
Knowing that that's coming. So that's one thing we should have done differently, is signed a shorter lease agreement on that furniture. And that would have been a good plan. And we probably should have just went ahead and done that at the beginning. So there was some indecision of, do we do that or do we not? And then that cost us a few months of drag on the rest of the portfolio.
Yeah.
Right? Because all the other units were
for
basically paying rent on these 2 empty ones.
Right.
And then that was the end of it. You know, no extra.
Yep.
Right. So, you're not in business to, break even. So it was kind of a weird spot to be in. Like, we doubled up in units, but all of a sudden now we were back to break even.
Right.
Because they weren't all actually operating.
Yes.
So I want to say that was a mistake. So that's something you can learn from our mistakes. That's if you ever talk to somebody that didn't make a mistake, then they're probably lying to you. And we do that all. One of our mentors, or quasi mentors, Larry Horvath, down in Florida, that's where I heard that from him. He calls them seminars.
Seminars, where you learn from.
Yes. When you make a mistake, his thing is, okay, you paid the money for it. Learn the mistake. You went to the seminar.
Right, we did.
Right. So I'm giving you our free, well, we paid for the seminar. For you guys, it's free.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
Right. So have your finances in order. If you're going to rent furniture, do it short term with a plan to get out of that quickly.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
But one thing that we did do well is we already knew that we needed people to be there.
Right, because we have the team here in Charlotte already.
Right.
So you know what the roles are.
Right. Right. So we already knew that. And even though it took us a little bit longer to find the laundromat, because that was one thing that we knew that we needed was a laundromat. And then we knew that we needed an operations specialist, also called like a runner, right? We knew that we needed that position filled, and that took us a little time, because it's difficult sometimes to find someone that has that availability,
especially if you're smaller. If you don't have enough work for them, like bring them on full time, like as an employee type situation, then now you're talking about something that's like, it's a few hours a week, and when we might need you. Right. So you need somebody that has another gig going on, or something else.
And you could share them with other operators.
You can, yeah. And that's what we do here in Charlotte. Our runner actually, well, she's not the only person, or we're not the only people she deals with, right? And she's also not someone that works a traditional 9 to 5 either. So she does this, she drives for Lyft and DoorDash and things like that. So she's kind of a gig economy person anyway.
Right.
And we found those people to be very flexible because they're already used to doing that.
And they're already out and about and can run over to the unit.
Yeah, and you don't have to be their main source of income.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that works very well. In Greensboro, we ended up with a college student.
And
which is a very similar type situation, right?
Right. Yeah. So, and one of the draws for him was, I was like, hey, we're not the only operators in this building. So you have the potential to, make more money. And I'll be glad to give your information to these other operators that I already know in the area and put in a good word for you. So I did that too.
Yeah. And because we operate similarly, then they need the same position too.
Right.
Right. So that worked out well.
Yep.
So yeah, and I will say the one other success is everything else in the business stayed the same.
Yeah, that's true.
So everything that's remote, the customer service, the messaging templates, the setting up the listing, like all that stuff just plugged right into our existing SOPs for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is an apartment building as opposed to
some of the systems had
the houses, right? So some of the systems involving turnover and inventory and storage and things like that are different and actually more efficient there. Because for one thing, we have a central location for all of our linens and stock and all that kind of thing.
Because we rented a garage.
Right. Well, you need storage, and that was our solution. There was to rent a garage.
Yeah, and that's been working out real well.
Yeah, and that services all the apartments. Right. So that now, once we have that in place, okay, now it's just easy to sign other leases.
Sure.
So if we want to expand next time, we don't have to go find another runner and make another storage. We can just grow in that building. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's a good thing that we did to establish ourselves there and get all that set up and going.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be, now that I've done it, I wouldn't be opposed to going to other markets because I know that we can do it and not have to be somewhere that you and I physically need to go to.
Right.
Right. We could probably go anywhere.
I would say that's true.
Mm-hmm. And now we have almost a year's experience doing that too, right? Yeah. Operating in a market that essentially is if something happens, you can't just pop over.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Right. So that's a good thing. I want to say that's a success.
Yeah, I feel like that was a really great win for us. And I like that.
Yeah.
It was good. Anything else that you can think of?
I don't know. In this business, it's hard to remember everything that's happened in the last year because there's so many things going on and moving parts. I do know that this year we extended our
leases.
No, that isn't what I was going to say. I was talking in terms of occupancy and length of stay and things like that. We did really well on that. Our average length of stay over the year was something like 12 to 14 days.
Yeah,
on an average reservation.
Because it used to be, I want to say, between 5 and 7.
Or lower than that, yeah, even.
Yeah, that's interesting. Why do you think that is?
I, this year, had a focus on that. So one of the things I will tell you is that, in general, you make more money the further out someone books. So that's booking lead time, meaning if they book it 2 weeks in advance, those same dates are more expensive than if they book it the day before, right?
Sure. Right, because typically the prices get cheaper the closer in they are.
Right, because those days are expiring.
Right.
So even if you're not, we should be using a dynamic software tool, but in general, that's the way it's going to work.
Right.
Unless there's some other factor like tomorrow's Christmas, like it's a holiday or something. But in general, closer in dates are cheaper than further out dates. So I'd rather sell them further in advance just for that reason. Another way to get there is just have them stay longer, because then they may book it today for tomorrow, but if they're staying a month, now you're still capturing those dates into the future, right?
Excuse me.
Which means more revenue.
Right.
So my goal was twofold: see if I can get people to book further in advance, and can I get them to book longer? And the result of that was what you saw this year. Was I'm not sure I quite achieved the far in advance part. Maybe I did.
But the longer reservations,
I'm not sure what the metric on that is, but the longer reservations for sure, and that reflected in gross revenue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
And there's less turnover.
Right.
So you see less cleaning going on, less supplies being used, because we typically don't restock until someone checks out, for example.
Less laundry being done.
Definitely less linen being done.
At the
now, some of those are passed through, like the cleaners.
The cleaners.
Well, we actually make money on cleaning, right? So that's something to think about is, for example, say your cleaners charge $100 and you're charging the guest $120, that should be a $20 spread. That's more per night the shorter the reservation though. Meaning if they stayed, 4 days, then that's $5 extra a night, $20 is.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
But if they stay 8 days, it's only $2.50 extra.
Right.
If they stay a month, then you probably can't even calculate it, right?
Sure.
So that's something to think about. As your stays get longer, the more you can charge for things like cleaning, and the more you probably should, because there's going to be more cleaning involved.
Right.
That's another thing we did this past year too that I just thought of was we revamped our quality control process.
Oh yes, we did.
Because we went through a period of time there where we had the same cleaners forever, and then all of a sudden the quality just dropped.
Right, we kept getting
it was
cleanliness
like
complaints.
every other reservation had some kind of complaint about cleaning.
As the reviews got bad.
Well, that's going to be reflected in the reviews. So we had to come up with a system of managing that better.
Yep.
And that became a process of not only the tool, Turnover B&B is what we use, and using that more effectively, meaning requiring more pictures,
the
checklists, being more detailed.
And training cleaners.
And training better, right? But this was somebody who was already trained.
Yeah.
The quality just fell off.
Well.
And it was their employees, I think.
That's exactly right. It was because she started expanding her cleaning business and hiring more people to work for her, and she wasn't training them properly.
Right.
Was part of the problem.
Right. And yes, they should be, especially if they're a company, it's not an individual cleaner, they should be quality controlling their own people.
Sure.
But we came to realize that, okay, that's fine, but for them, it's a $75 to $90 cleaning job on the line. For us, it may be a $3,000 reservation.
Sure.
So we need to take responsibility for and make sure quality control is there.
Yeah, in our own business.
Yeah, so we started implementing, okay, now we have a quality control person that goes behind the cleaners, not every time.
Right. Well, for the first 3 times the cleaner cleans for us, we do.
If it's a new cleaner.
If it's a brand new cleaner, we'll do quality control behind them for the first 3 times that they clean for us. And then
we spot check.
Right. So it
should be every
3 cleans.
It should be every 3 cleanings.
Right.
Or if someone stays for like a month or something, we do it.
Correct.
At least once a month.
Then we implemented the deep clean as well.
That's right.
After
so that was
the stays of 30 days or longer, we just go ahead and block off that day that they are checking out, because the cleaners need a whole day to do a deep clean.
Right. And we do those once a month anyway.
Yes, we do.
Now.
Yep.
And those 2 things together, because
And we host pets.
That's true, which requires more cleaning anyway.
Yep.
Right. But it was, the maintenance cleans, those turnovers, those aren't deep cleans.
No.
They don't typically do baseboards. They're not cleaning your oven necessarily. Right. They're not doing all these extra things.
Right.
Right, because you're not paying them to do that. You're paying them to do a turnover.
Right.
And plus there's not as much time, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Right.
And those deep cleans they typically charge us twice the base rate. So that extra money that, we get from the guest, say the cleaner charges us $100 and we're charging the guest $125, that extra $25 goes towards helping pay for those deep cleans too.
Which may be something to reevaluate this year. Maybe we need to raise our cleaning fee
just a little bit to help pay for those deep cleans.
Because that is
we're
one of the
doing
things.
Deep cleans more often.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I monitor, because in our profit and loss statement, we have a cleaning income line, and then we also have a cleaning expenses line.
Right. You need to make sure.
And I'm also always making sure that the income one is higher than the expense one, or at least equals it.
Right. Don't we have a linen one too?
We do. Yeah. There's a line item for that too.
Because we
use a linen service.
We use a linen service, but we also charge guests for linens too.
We do.
Yeah. Even though it may not show up as 2 separate
But it does in our P&L.
But it
That's
does
the
in our
important
P&L. Yeah.
to
Right.
know that, okay, we're actually covering that too, right? Instead of just guessing.
Right.
But yeah, that was something we did this year that really helped. And by the way, we achieved Superhost again.
Yes. So now that's an indication of those things that we've been doing are working.
Yeah. Because it's hard to overcome even a 4-star review.
Yeah. It
If
really
somebody
is.
gives you a 3, then it's like, oh God, I got to get 25-star reviews to get over that.
You need 20 5-star reviews to compensate for a 4-star review.
To get to, on Airbnb, Superhost is a 4.8 overall.
That's incredible.
And if you think about it, you could have a 5-star review and a 4-star review, and that's 4.5.
Yep.
And now you're not there.
Yep.
And even another 5-star review doesn't get you there.
Yep.
And another one doesn't quite get you there.
Yep. You're going to have 20.
Right. So you've got to have a lot of 5-star reviews.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So it's just this the way it is. And I'm not sure Superhost matters that much anyway.
Yeah.
But it's nice that we got it. And
It
it's
is.
nice to know that
That's true.
in part it's because of the changes we made.
Yeah. Right.
To recover from that.
Right. So I think that there's a couple of things that we could work on with that is the system that we use to make sure that those deep cleans get scheduled is a very manual process. And I think we could automate that a little bit in some tasks, but to make sure that they get done, but it's still probably going to be a manual process with the customer experience specialist doing it.
Yeah. Somebody has to know to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
But now that we know that is working for us, I think we should continue doing that. And just to switch gears a little bit, because I had this thought was, we're always looking for new units and we're always looking for more money, right? And one of the things that I think that we could do better is expanding our credit facility. Because I think that would have helped us get these new units up and running faster.
Yeah, that's something we haven't really paid much attention to in the business.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things you should be doing.
Right.
And we actually learned a lot about business credit this year. Have we implemented a lot of it? No. But just knowing how it works is probably a whole nother podcast. But, you hear about in business, oh, you're done in Bradstreet number. Well, it turns out there's about 5 to 7 different places that you can report to in business credit.
Yeah.
And not everybody looks at the same places, right? So your business credit card likely doesn't report to Dun & Bradstreet. It likely reports to Experian or one of those, right? And so we learned kind of these things that we could be doing, and some of it involves how do you spend your money, right? Do you spend it out of your checking account, or do you spend it out of, this credit facility and then pay that, right? And sometimes you're paying the same bills, but it's the way you route things that can help you generate that credit facility that doesn't rely on your own personal credit,
right?
More tied to the business itself. And I want to say that's one of our goals for this year is to kind of get all that straight.
Yep. And the first thing that I need to do is make sure that our business address is the same, like everywhere.
Yeah, and it needs to be exactly the same.
Yeah,
we found out.
Right, exactly.
Again, this is like a whole other podcast, but
there can't even be a period different.
Yeah, like if one's like 123 Main Street spelled out, and the other one's 123 Main ST.
Right.
Those are not the same address.
Right.
For credit purposes.
And PO boxes.
You don't want those either.
Are not accepted everywhere. So I'm like, crap, what am I going to do?
Right.
So I've been doing some research, and we'll do a podcast after we.
Yeah, once we figure it out, we'll let you know.
Figure it out, right? But that is one thing that is a goal for us this year is to implement some of the things that we've learned about business credit and expanding our credit facility so that we can expand more faster, because we already know that we could go get more units anytime we want to.
Yeah, we could probably go get them tomorrow.
We could probably go get them tomorrow.
But we've been recovering from this mistake we made last year.
Yep.
Right. And now here we are in January, slow season, and it's caught up to us again.
Yep, it sure has.
Right. So, okay, let's fix it this year.
Yep.
And make sure we get those pieces in place so that, next this time next year, it'll be
Right.
like, okay, no big deal.
But I
Right.
think we're always getting better. It's like every single year we are getting better. So I think you can tell, can't you? When you were looking at the P&L,
Mhm.
the top line revenue just keeps growing every year.
Yeah, by a lot.
Right.
It didn't quite double this year because of the hiccups we had.
Sure.
So I was trying to get to a certain number and we fell short of it. But we got really close.
Yeah.
And next
That's
year
exciting.
we're going to hit it, no doubt.
That's exciting.
Because we'll have the whole year.
Yeah.
Right. So that's interesting that that's going on. Even if we don't expand, I expect revenue to increase next year by at least 20%.
Right on.
So there's that.
It's a goal.
Yes. We just make sure that expenses don't increase by 20% as well. Right.
Got it. Okay.
That's the key, right?
Controlling expenses.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's good. I think that we've learned a lot. We learned a lot in 2022, and we have some really great goals for 2023. So stay tuned.
Right. And one more thing that's really
you say.
exciting for 2023, we now have, as part of Short-Term Rental Authority, we have our Insider Access group.
That's
So
we've created an Insider Access members only private group.
Right. So we have the Facebook group, we have the community, that's free. We're still going to go live on Wednesdays and talk to you guys. But we also have some, I don't want to give away too much, but we're going to have some other people join us who are also expert operators. They're going to be in there. And the idea is that, hey, we're going to jump on a Zoom call once a week and mastermind and collaborate and learn from each other.
And this is a separate Zoom call than the Wednesday night one.
Yeah, well, Wednesday night isn't Zoom. It's live on Facebook and YouTube.
Right.
This is actually going to be a private Zoom link that only people that are in that group can come to. It's going to be smaller, more intimate, and more interactive because instead of typing back and forth in chat, you can actually talk to people. Right.
Yeah, that's the best thing about Zoom.
So that's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that. If you're interested you can DM us the words Insider Access either on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube even. We have a text number, but I can never remember what it is.
980-888-8541.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So
you can text Insider Access to 980-888-8541.
Yes.
I don't know why I can remember numbers.
I haven't been able to remember a phone number since 1992, maybe? Like when we had a landline?
Right.
I don't even know what my old phone number is. I really don't. It's in my contacts.
Right. I don't know. It's one of those things.
It is.
Well, it's weird how your brain works. But yes, text Insider Access to 980-888-8541. And that will get you in the system to be part of the private members only Insider Access group. And we are very, very excited about this collaboration that we're going to have with lots of other operators that have been doing it for a while. So we're going to be collaborating with them. And we would love to have you if you'd like to learn from the best. It's going to be great.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be really great.
It's going to be a good 2023.
It is. But, it's not just the Zoom call. It's going to have that there. Once you join Insider Access, you're going to have access to the course that we've created.
Yep. All the templates,
all the templates
checklists
that we've got, all the checklists that we've got,
anything we add, the video library.
Library. And you even get a discount on one-on-one coaching with us as well.
That's true. So it's probably worth doing it just for that.
Yeah, really.
It's about half price.
It's half price.
For the one-on-one. So if you want to come into the Insider Access and be in that group setting, great.
Join us.
And then if I need some, one-on-one help, we can do that too. And you'll get a discount on that. So come join us. Text that Insider Access to
980-888-8541.
Excellent.
Yes, very good. Well, 2023, here we come, and we would love to bring you along with us because we are here at Short-Term Rental Authority to help make you the best operator ever. And we'll see you next time. On to the next.